Hello and welcome to the home stretch, making the final transition to solid foods. I'm Kate Spurgeon and I'm a dietetic student. In this video, we'll be covering the basics about transitioning infants to solid foods around their first birthday. We will touch on topics related to the timing of this transition, good food choices, how to prepare foods, precautions to keep young eaters safe, mealtime suggestions, and some general tips that might be helpful to families. I will also share some key messages throughout the video for your conversations with WIC clients. First, let's start with the timeline for this. At 8 to 14 months old, babies are ready to be eating more solid foods. It's important to remember that every child is on their own timeline. There may be some challenges in this process, but good preparation can help this transition be an enjoyable experience for babies and their families. At 6 to 8 months, babies may eat about 6 to 8 ounces of breast milk or formula 4 to 5 times per day. At 9 to 12 months, they might go down to about 7 to 8 ounces 3 times per day. When they're around a year old, the goal is for babies eating formula to wean off of it and replace it with 1 to 2 servings of dairy per day. Babies eating breast milk can wean off of it around this age too, but they don't need to. A key message about this topic is don't overdo the dairy, because too much milk can cause iron deficiency anemia. Next, we'll talk about good food options. At about 1 year old, children should be eating most of the foods their family is eating. They should be offered a variety of meats, beans, vegetables, fruits, and grains. While family recipes don't need to be changed, it is good to limit the amount of added sugar and salt that babies eat. Babies younger than 12 months old should not have juice. After turning 1 year old, they can have up to 4 ounces a day of 100% juice, although they don't need it. It's good to water it down so they get used to less sweet flavors. During feedings, if a baby shakes their head no, turns away, or refuses to open their mouth, parents should not force feed them. A key message related to this is you never need to force or beg a baby to eat. Once they're eating table foods, serve them dishes with seasonings that are part of the family's food culture, like cinnamon, curry powder, chili powder, cilantro, or garlic. Gradually introduce spicy seasonings that can irritate the mouth, like cayenne pepper or hot sauce, if these are part of family meals. If they don't like a new food, don't push it. Try again another time. Repeated exposure can create variety in their tastes and diet. A key message here is to try new foods more than once, so they can learn to like new flavors. Now let's touch on how food should be prepared. Foods should be served finely chopped, ground, or mashed. Parents should assume they will swallow food without chewing, even if they have teeth. An easy guideline when they are first starting solids is that a thin sliver is always better than a chunk. By 1 year old, though, they should be able to handle larger pieces of food. The key message is, to prevent choking, make sure foods are cut into small pieces and are easy to swallow. Some examples of foods and how they should be prepared include small pieces of fruit or vegetables, well-cooked and finely chopped meat, bits of scrambled egg, well-cooked pasta, mashed potatoes, cottage cheese, and peas. Next, we'll talk about a topic that's on a lot of parents' minds: safety. Two main recommendations for safe feeding are to test warm foods to make sure they're cool enough to avoid burns on the tongue or mouth, and only allow a baby to eat while seated and under an adult's direct supervision. The best approach for possible food allergies is to offer one new food at a time to see if they have any problems with that food. Wait 3 to 5 days between each new food, and talk to a doctor if there is a family history of food allergies or if the child has severe eczema. A key message that may surprise parents is that exposure to a variety of foods actually reduces a child's risk of food allergies. Parents should call a doctor immediately if there are any of these signs of allergic reaction, and they should go to the emergency room if the reaction seems serious. Signs include rash, hives, wheezing, difficulty breathing, vomiting, excessive gas, diarrhea, or bloody stools. There are a few foods that should be avoided for the first year. These include honey, which can cause botulism if it's introduced too early, cow's milk to drink, stick with breast milk or formula until the baby is 1 year old, but eating dairy products like cheese and yogurt in the first year is fine. Unpasteurized dairy products, including raw cheeses like queso fresco, raw meat or fish, and foods that can be a choking hazard during the first year, such as nuts, seeds, raisins, hard or sticky candy, whole grapes, large chunks of fruits or vegetables, popcorn, thick peanut butter, chunks of meat or cheese, and whole hot dogs. Now we'll cover a few mealtime strategies. Eating meals at set times helps babies get used to the idea of eating on a schedule. It can be helpful to follow a routine. Parents can start by washing their baby's hands, soothing them, and then sitting them down to eat. They should maintain a focused, calm environment and turn off the TV and any loud music. And then, if possible, they should stay seated with them throughout the meal. A key message that will help babies get used to an eating routine is, try to eat family meals at the same times every day. Meals are a great time to build some physical skills for eating. Starting at about 6 months old, parents can start offering babies a small amount of water in a cup with meals. They can also offer babies a spoon to hold while using another spoon to feed them. As the baby becomes more able to use the spoon over time, parents can encourage this during meals. And lastly, a few tips to share with parents. First, they can let the baby lead the process. This can mean letting them choose what they eat from what's offered and when to stop eating. They should watch for signs that the baby has had enough to eat and avoid overfeeding them. Signs of fullness include pushing their food away, closing their mouth when food is offered, or turning their head away from the food. They can practice patience and have fun with this process. It's also good to expect that things can get messy as a baby learns to eat more solid foods. And parents should always talk with a doctor about any questions or concerns they have. And our final key message, every child makes the transition to solid foods at their own pace. Thank you for watching. I hope this information has been helpful.